So, I've just posted on Facebook that my sister has cancer and my mother has cancer. And at this point, people thinking, oh my gosh, how must you be feeling this and that, the other? Exactly how I've been feeling with all the other videos, right? So, I'm going to go in reverse. I'm going to sort of give you the events of this evening and sort of tie up some of the bits from today that I didn't go into because I was skirting around it. So anyways, I've just basically hung up on my mother, even though she revealed today that she got cancer. Because the thing is, when I've got fantastic health, right? But if you're going to ask me, you basically, the person that you want to listen to is the person with good health. If you want to know something about health, you don't listen to another sick person. So often times, like I've been the last 3 weeks, I've had sort of like one day where I've woken up not feeling, feeling slightly off. But I keep my illness to myself and I deal with it, right? But I will mention it in passing afterwards. And always my mother will say, have a hot drink, drink hot water, something. Now, this is going to come across so harsh. I'm not the one who's got cancer, right? So I'm not in the habit of listening to people with issues that I don't have. So I've just said to her, right, I'm hanging up because you people have completely different mindset to me, and I don't want to listen to her going on about what's good for my sister. So my sister's been in hospital for 5 weeks, and this is the part where I wish I swore, because there's some expletives that need to come out, but they don't know what the hell they're doing. You've got student nurses. Why if I'm in a situation where, in that case, imagine if I was sick, why would I want a beginner attending to me? Right? I wouldn't want somebody practicing, learning how to be a nurse or a doctor on me. I want somebody who is a fully qualified professional. But that's my thought. So, like I said, I have a completely different mindset, and here is where people are going to realize this. They're going to understand. Like, people on the surface think they know me. They think I know what I'm about. Now is when people are going to actually start seeing the different angles, the different sides to me, and they're going to understand that they never knew me, right? So I'm anyway, I've said what I've said, so I'm not going to go into that. But dealing with, where's all the paperwork? Hold on, give me a second. All right, so this, I haven't even looked at it. Right, so 2 or 3 weeks ago, check this out. Paperwork from the hospital. See, they've got everything. Cancer guide. Check it, look. More. Understanding cancer, whatever. Right, so this was given to my sister and she asked me to take it home. Today, this is what she got from the Royal Marsden. More paperwork, full of paperwork. Have I got any more in there? No, that's it. All of this, right? Now, I absolutely kicked off today, but I was trying to go cryptic with the other videos that I did, because as I said in the previous one, I was dealing with idiots. I don't give a damn how qualified you are. If you're an idiot, you're an idiot. And I said, the way that I go about dealing with illness, I don't rule things out. I find out what it is. I'm going to give you 3 examples of health issues that I had that I cured or that I've got under control. So first one, I know it was 2 years ago because it was Halloween, and I was trying to zip myself up in a dress and my shoulder was gone. So I can trace it back to 2 years. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna bring God into this. So this shoulder, I woke up and my left shoulder was gone. I, respect the injury, see what it is. That's how I deal with things. I don't try and attack it straight away. I get familiar with it and see how it's behaving and all of that. And then I say, all right, you've had your go, my turn. So with this shoulder, it was completely gone. I couldn't even lift it. There was no strength up there. I couldn't do that. I mean, it was like that for a good while. And it was a Thursday. It was October, 2 years ago. I was in the bathroom doing my hair. I was plaiting my hair. And God told me I didn't have gym membership at that point. I'd sort of let my gym membership lapse. Told me to go back to the gym, right? So I signed up straight away because when God tells me to do something, I do it with immediate effect. So I registered with the gym and I went the next morning. And I worked on my shoulder. I'd already identified what it was. It was a rotator cuff tear, right? So in the jacuzzi, I worked on it, heat, water, and then gave that time in the sauna, heat, working on it, doing all sorts of things, just making it up as I go along with inspiration. This is my shoulder. This is the bad one. I did not see a doctor. I did not have any treatment. Look, as good as new. Okay, I may come back to that if I think of anything else. The other thing, recently, a few months ago, I had really, like every time I eat or drink something, I'm doing this to my chest. I just notice I'm beating my chest because it's just burning. And then I could feel sort of like something stuck in my throat sometimes as well, depending what I ate. And again, I went and I did the research, did the research, found out what it was. It's GERD, GERD, capital letters, otherwise known as acid reflux. And it gives you a list of things to avoid. But in my mind, I thought, well, if you're avoiding things, you're not cured. It's a bit like an alcoholic avoiding going to pubs, avoiding alcohol, but hasn't in spirit gotten over it. So what I did was, being a bit of a quack for years, I've said before in another video that if you're interested, today I said it, if you're interested in something and it's a good thing, then God will give you inspiration because he will take interest in it as well. But it's not going to give you anything that you're not interested in. So I went to the market because at that point I was doing shopping for my sister because she wasn't well. And I went to the market and I saw this thing that looked like ginger and I asked, what's that? And I was told it's turmeric. So I bought some and it tastes disgusting. It's an acquired taste, but I know it's good for you. So I use ginger a lot. So I bought some to try and I bought ginger. But then I decided, I don't know, sometimes ideas just come to me and I act upon them. Inspiration. And so I blended and I was drinking the whole week and gone, no problems, cured, right? So that's second thing. The third thing, I said I have issues with breathing. And this has been going on for a few years now. But whenever I got into difficulty, I always used to say, God help me. Right? That was my first thing. God help me. And by somehow I'd come out of it. But then as time went on, I learned how to control it. So the minute I feel that I'm getting into difficulty, I know what to do. Right? So that isn't cured, but I know how to manage it. I know what I need to do. So these are three examples where I've not had to bring any doctor into the equation, right? So but the thing about it is, I mean, I've said what I've had to say in the videos, but like I said, with my mother, the only reason I didn't mention to her that my sister had been diagnosed with cancer, because the same reason why she didn't know that for her from April. I think she, gosh, when was it? August. I think maybe August. She found out that my sister wasn't well, just prior to her going into hospital anyway. But don't tell her, because she's going to bring her feelings and her emotions and her worrying and her fretting into it, and it's like she's being shielded from that. But tonight I'm at the hospital, and because she was trying to say to me, "Oh, don't talk to the doctors like that, don't." And it's like, but I deserve to be spoken to like that, because they're idiots. So so she's talking and talking and saying whatever she's saying. Oh, because actually this is what happened when I got to the hospital this evening. I got there at 6:30, and as I was outside ringing the buzzer, and I recognized my sister's hair because I did it for her, in the bed, coming out head first in the bed. So they're moving her to another ward. I've not been told anything or whatever, so they're moving her to another floor in a different ward. And so I mentioned this to mother, because the way we handle the phone calls to avoid negativity, right? So I literally say to my sister, right, let's get this out of the way, because I've got to ring mother so she can say hi to her, and so on. So did that, and then she wants to know, well, I said, oh, she'd just been moved to a different ward on a different floor, so she wants to know everything. And then she asked me, oh, I got into something with one of the nurses. So she asked me to, get the number, this, that, the other, and I goes, what for? She's in Kent. What do you want the number for? What are you gonna do? Oh, so I can ring up and find out. Find out what to do, what with the information. If you see where I'm coming from. So it's sort of like, if you're not in a position to do anything, you wait until you're informed. So while I went out there to get the number from the nurse, one of them saying, is trying to give me a mask. I said, you're not supposed to give me a mask. You're supposed to ask me if I'm able to wear one. And then, and I can't remember how that went, but I tell you, it is a good thing when you can speak Jamaican patois, because you sound like a proper gangster, and people are afraid of you when well, I don't know about anybody else, but with me, I start talking in Jamaican. I'm talking to my mother on the phone in Jamaican patois, and she just backed off. You're telling me something about if I can't wear a mask, and I'll have to wear a shield, and I thought, who the F do you think you're talking to? But I think she backed off when I said to my mother, hang on, I'll call you back, because she thought it was going to kick off. So she didn't come and bother me. But to me, all of this is foolishness. So you will understand, if I don't give a damn about cancer, then I surely don't give a damn about coronavirus. I just think that there is inspiration out there. There are higher ways of dealing with things. And if I was fat or sickly or something, and I had some issue going on, you could say, yeah, but you can't talk, God isn't working for you. And we see this because there's a lot of religious people who talk about God is blessing them, this, that, the other, and some of them have got worse health problems than people who don't believe in God, right? So it's sort of like, you've got to be the example of what you're talking about. So anyway, so I got the number, but I didn't end up giving it to my mother. And it was at this point that she said, oh, but you don't know what's going on with me. And she said about she's got a problem. And I said, what problem? And she said she's been diagnosed with cancer. And I said, well, so has my sister. But I was expecting a different reaction. But it was almost like she was doing the sort of, it is not quite a martyr, but like suffering for the cause kind of thing. Like, oh, I've got my own health problems, but I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about my daughter kind of thing. And to me, that's a pile of nonsense. It's like, look, illness is there, you bloody get over it. That's what you do. You try and find ways to get over things. So that's how I look at it. So I don't care what it is anybody's suffering from. If I have understanding of how to deal with the thing, then I will try to pass that on. If I don't, then what can I do? So I don't do the worrying and the being worrying or anything like that, thinking about what can happen, because what can happen? What can happen? So so I just sort of cut to that with her, and she started going on about some other things, and then I started to give her a history lesson, because she's saying, oh, but I'm all the way here, so I can't do anything. I said, that's your choice where you're there. And she goes, oh, but I couldn't afford anything in London. And I said, would you like me to take you back in time? But if I do that, I'm going to hurt your feelings. So she kind of toughed it out, and I reminded her. I said, you sold the house. You had a house, you sold it. That, but she did that out of spite. And I started going on about how actions have consequences. And I said to her, I keep track of my consequences. I keep track of my actions. So nobody's going to have to remind me of things that I've done and why this thing might be working out that way. So anyways, we just kind of left it there. And then I was giving my sister the pep talk. I'm just saying to her, sometimes people think when people are sick, you say, oh, I'll pray for you, I'll fast for you, I'll do this. Sometimes people need to repent, because I look at it this way. This video is going to come across so harsh. I look at it this way. Sometimes people need to repent. It's either you believe in God or you don't. And if you claim to believe in God, and then you're sitting there at the mercy of a student nurse or a student doctor or whatever format of whatever type of medical professional or amateur is attending to you, sorry, but as I said in a previous video, we are not supposed to take directions or be governed over by people who are not on the same level not on the same level, or who have inferior intellect. You're not supposed to do that. And my thing is spirituality. My thing is God. So I said to my mother, I'm gonna hang up. People who know my mother will know that she's the one who normally behaves in that way. But I hung up because I've been telling her all day today, every time we've communicated, I don't share the same mentality as the rest of you. The way that you think, that's not how I think. That's why I have different outcomes in my life. Now, I don't know how people are gonna take what I've said here, but like I said, I posted on Facebook because I was inspired to do it. It is for people to think, I don't want anybody coming back to me asking me, are you all right, this, that, the other, because I will curse them, right? I'm always all right. That's why I said the other day when somebody suggested that I'm stressed and can tell that I'm stressed. You don't know the first thing about me, how I deal with things. You don't know the level of my development. How the hell, if we're not on the same level, on the same path, how can you know what I'm feeling? You're just sort of putting your feelings on me. That's how you would feel, so you assume I feel that way. But I don't feel anything, because my focus is on God, and God works for me. Anything that I need to know, anything that I even said to my sister, you have to give God a chance to give him a chance, and so that he can glorify himself through your recovery. Now, it might have gone in one and out the other, because the thing is, it's like asking somebody to go and win the French Open and they've never picked up a tennis racket. You can only, using tennis as an example, you can only play at the level that the level that you've attained to. So, because even people who've played tennis all their life, some of them don't make it as professionals. They never win a tournament, right? So if you don't have any experience with God, if you've never put him to the test, then I've said this before in previous videos, you don't wait until the moment of your crisis to realize that you're not prepared, right? So in my situation, if I had been diagnosed with cancer, I would say, I would just go to God and say, what do you think you're doing? Get rid of it. Right? That's how I talk to him. And I don't bow down in front of him and, oh God, you're so wonderful, this, that, the other. I talk to him rough. I reason with him. All of these do-gooding Christian, holier than thou types can think whatever they like. That's whatever relationship they have with their God. That's fine. But how is he working out for them? My God is somebody, is a being who has an input into my life. My life works absolutely because I put it over to him. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next. But I just think it's very interesting that my sister's been diagnosed on the one hand and my mother's been diagnosed on the other. And the two of them, my sister prior to her illness was the one, the one of my mother's children who had contact with her. But that is more to do with my mother, the way she has conducted herself towards her children over the years. So like I said, consequences will come, and I'm not going to get in the way of anybody reaping what they sow. And like I said, this may come across really harsh, but I know there are people out there who hate God because they will say, how can he let a little child die from cancer? How can this, that? Listen, you wouldn't think like that if you understood God, right? You wouldn't even think along those lines. So it'll be interesting to see what the outcome of these, my mother and my sister will be. But the outcome will depend on them. It's what they choose to do about it, but I'm not going to go there with them. I think a certain way. My mentality is completely different, and I'm not going to change it to accommodate either one of them. I'm just going to do what I have to do, and I will continue doing what I do as inspired. But as said, I'm not going to turn to the left or turn to the right. I am going straight ahead and continuing in the way that I always do. And that's the end of the video. See you